I designed this course because I want to help people that probably wouldn't find me or wouldn't necessarily at the moment want to work with a fiduciary, but this is a way for me at scale to have a greater impact. And I think if we can all just be kind, if we can all just work to give an impact, make an impact, I think the world would just be a better place.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of I Have Something to Say, where subject matter experts are unafraid and unapologetic about sharing their perspectives regarding issues that impact our lives. They speak up because basically they give a shit. So if you're tired of canned answers and want to finally hear real people cut through the BS and talk about real issues, this is the podcast for you. I'm your host, Sami Heyman Marrero from Urbander, and behind our mixer is our producer, Chris Majoka from UdoU.
Welcome, everyone, to this episode of I Have Something to Say. This is going to be a really good one because normally we check our finances and plan, for the new year in like late December, maybe January, right? But we can't do that anymore, right? So it's time that we check our financial vitals. And I wanted to invite to the show my dear, dear friend, Michelle Gordon. She's the founder and CEO of Investably. And Investably is a Latina-owned registered investment advisory firm that helps women-led households with financial planning and investment management. And I love talking to Michelle because every time I learn something new. And Michelle, I'm delighted that you're putting this together and offering it to the world so that way we could basically get our shit together. So welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. And I know you're super busy with, being a business owner, mom, and advising, your clients on sound investments. And so gracias for joining me tonight. How are you?
I am well, and no, thank you to you to making space for other Latinas, other business owners, for our gente, right? And I'm just excited to be here. In fact, I'm not sure if you know this, but this month marks 1 year that we've known each other.
Look at that. How awesome. Well, and I'm so glad. It's like the beauty of LinkedIn and the power of travel for advocacy and for, getting together. And so we've met multiple times in person too. And so this sisterhood is one of those real ones, right? Like from the get-go, it just felt right. And it's from the heart, but it's also because financial topics tend to be really stuffy. Mm-hmm. And the minute we sat down you just keep it so real and so approachable and really dispel this fear that we all have into really understanding budgeting and investments. And we're so busy. And then you come from a place of empathy too, right? Because you're a business owner, a mom, you're juggling all of these responsibilities. But I want to take it a couple of steps back and just learn a little bit about your journey. I know your journey, but to share a little bit about your journey in this financial space, right? How did you land in investments?
Yeah. Well, it's a long journey, but I'd say it started from the time I was 12. Look, like so many of us, I am a child of immigrants, and watching my parents work so hard. I think like first generation kids, you have this need that you want to make it. And you want to make it not just for yourself, but because you feel like you owe it to your parent, and you want to do things better for them too, and you want to do things better for your kids. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was early on, I knew I wanted to be in investments. My mom actually did real estate for many years, and that's how I learned about investing in real estate. It wasn't until I got to college that I learned about trust fund. They used to call it trust fund babies. And I was like, okay, what is that, right? So people talk about wealth gap. We talk about wage gap. But there's this thing also called knowledge gap, right? No one
Mhm.
is knocking on our door talking to us about how to set up our kids with trust plans, trust strategies. How can we reduce what we're paying in taxes? Because it's not just about, we're killing it in the workplace, we're killing it in higher education, we're making a lot of money where the Latinas are leading in business, Latinas are leading in higher education. So we start making the money, but it we also need to know how to keep it.
Mm.
So who's knocking on the door talking to us about smart tax strategies so we can keep more for ourselves, for our kids, for our parents? So early on, this has always been in my heart to learn as much as I could to uplift the people around me.
That's great. And so then you studied this, you took
Yeah.
a deep dive,
Oh, yeah.
bit your teeth into it and
Mhm.
have mastered it in a
So,
way that
yeah,
I mean, you have like this
yeah,
master class that really
yeah.
talks about financial vitals
Hmm.
and have broken it down in a very digestible way, if you
Hmm.
will, to
Yeah,
really make an impact on women like me, right? That
yeah,
are balancing, right? The responsibility of, running a household and that budget, because that's separate, and then the business. And then if you're like in advocacy, right?
hmm,
Like me, and you also run a nonprofit. And so then
yeah,
it could get a little hairy, right? And so talk to me a little bit more about,
yeah,
you know, the the woman, right? That
yeah,
you're trying to support
yeah.
and the why
Yeah,
you
no,
feel.
I mean, you've said it. So it's look, I started out on Wall Street, literally on Wall Street, and I've seen so many things happen. I mean, the 2008 crash, I was at the heart of that, literally on Wall Street, watching all of it. So I'm trying to take 16 plus 18 plus years of experience in working in asset management. I left to start my own practice because I felt like my people are being seen, are being heard, no one's coming to them, and I wanted to make something different. Even from the name of the company, Investably, I wanted to feel warm and welcoming because
Mhm.
this is something very vital for all of us. Money is critical. It's I always say it's not the goal. The goal isn't the money. It's not the life, but it's the goal is the life we want to live. But we need the money to support that. So what I wanted to do, most of the clients I work with are affluent women-led households. They're in corporate or they're running their business, or like they're also in advocacy, so they're running nonprofits, so I help with that too. But I, like you said, I came up with a masterclass, a 4-week program, because I want to help. Is my way. I feel that I can take the 18 plus years of experience that I have and knowledge in a scalable way, give people something tangible. So this isn't a class where you're going to come and you're just going to get some information. My purpose is to help people walk away with concrete, practical information that's personalized to them, so they understand what is your burn rate? What's your tax rate? How does all of this fit into your big financial picture, your financial health? And then what's an action plan you can come up with based on the education that I'm providing for you? So it's meant to really be very hands on, very practical. I'm using a lot of the state of the art, best of breed technology that I use in my practice for high net worth clients that I work with. I'm bringing that into the master class, and we're going to use it together to help provide people with the information they need. So they feel confident about where they are and where they're trying to go to. Two, they have an action plan they can work with that makes sense for them, piece by piece. Um, and then we're going to do it within intimate cohort, no more than
Mhm.
24 people. Will be once a week live, and that's more of a place for you to see a camaraderie. A lot of people have similar questions, concerns, but then there'll be a one-on-one with me as well, and where we can dive into your personal stuff. But at the end, you're going to walk away with tangible information that's going to hopefully set you up for greater success for yourself, for your kids, and your family.
That's great. And can I tell you, I mean, it really it really is an opportunity to learn all of these things
Mhm.
that we didn't learn growing up, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you had the benefit, right, of having, investments and dabbling into real estate, in your family,
yeah.
so you had someone that modeled that behavior, right? But
Mhm,
I feel like a lot of us, or at least in my case, right,
mhm.
I grew up in the mountainous area of Puerto Rico. My father worked a government job, put in the 30 years, retired. He was like, why are you jumping from one job to the other? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Just keep your head down, do the
It's a different
work, right? And
generation.
so then,
Yeah,
and saving was
yeah,
having enough, just never, how do you say, living beyond your means. That's how,
yeah,
we were taught. But beyond that, credit cards. I mean, the minute I turned 18, I got credit card offers and got sucked into that whole mess, right?
yeah, yeah.
So, but there was, in my house, there was really no direct counsel
Mhm.
from my parents, because I think no one really told them either. They just knew that they grew up really poor, right, in the
Yeah,
South Bronx, and that they didn't, want to live beyond their means. But beyond that lesson,
yeah,
that I really didn't learn, right? Because I got tangled up, right, in a lot of
yeah,
credit cards that thank
yeah.
God I'm not anymore. But where I'm getting at is that, a lot of ideas about just keep money under the mattress, don't trust the banks, like the investment,
Yeah,
scenario and Wall Street and all of that is just the trust funds, like you mentioned
yeah,
before. And then all of the other
yeah.
stuff that you just
Yeah.
mentioned a couple of things, like something about burning. I don't know. Like I don't understand any of it, right? So it's
Yeah,
kind of not. Is it too late? Because I'm like
mhm,
53 now. Am I too
yeah.
late?
First of all, you look amazing for 53.
Oh,
Let's start
thank
with
you.
that.
Oh, stop
No,
it! But
no,
tell me
it's not too
more.
late because there's always something you can do today that makes you better for tomorrow. So right now for women, the average lifespan is 84 in the US right now. So you're 53,
Mm.
you're talking about a 31 year get the five back, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
um, and so, probably you're looking to retire, in the next 10 as well. So no, it's the sooner you start, the better. Obviously, if someone starts in their 20s, even better. But we know most 20-year-olds, ourselves at 20, we're not, it was like, Katie Heaster, what did you say? No, thank you. But even look, even basic thing like understanding estate planning. Like, let's say for most of us, I'm your typical Latina mom. My son is my world. But many of us, even the ones with, let's say, we have a corporate job, and in our jobs we have, let's say, life insurance. We would list our son or our daughter as a beneficiary. If they're minor, those are complications. So in that case, I working with an estate attorney, for example, they would let you know you probably want to set up, there's a specific type of trust that is designed to receive the insurance policy for your kids' benefit. Because if something happens to you and your kids are minors, there's going to be complications and they may not receive it as you intended to. And that's
Mm.
where having that fiduciary guidance comes in. Actually, let me explain. A fiduciary, like myself, is someone that by law has to work in your best interest. So it's kind of like the doctor who by law follows the Hippocratic Oath. In the financial world, I'm a fiduciary. What that means is I am required by law to act in your best interest. So it's very different because you're not coming to me, we're not selling products, we're not pushing things. You're coming to me for advice. Now,
Mm.
we end up using a product here and there is because it fits your plan and what you're trying to do. I mean, but there's lots of things that could be done. I think most the what I commonly hear is, okay, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm putting money in my 401k at work, or I am, maxing out a Roth IRA or an IRA, and they just know that they have to do that, but there's no real understanding of why and what the benefit.
Right.
And then what do you do? What's the next step above that? How do you level up above that?
Right.
And that's where what I find really is most people, let's say, have a CPI, but the CPA many times is kind of filing what you've done, and there's really no true proactive tax planning every year that says we are going to allocate things in these types of accounts that have these preferential tax treatment to hopefully at the end of the year we've saved X amount in taxes, or that over the lifetime we've paid X amount less in taxes, that we end up keeping more for ourselves. So there's so many aspects of your big financial picture, but with the master class, bringing it back to that, I want to start with, let's just start with the basics and help you get really comfortable in understanding
Mhm.
your own numbers, and then some education. What are these things? What do they mean? And how can they fit best for me, for my picture? And then go from there. So before kind of taking you, let's say, like, university level education, let's start with the basics and help you
Yeah.
understand more specific numbers in a way that you can understand, but is very guided, and you're going to walk away with something very practical to go from right out the gate.
Right. And like understanding it, right? And so in
Correct.
lay terms, so that way it's like, okay, I think I understand how this works. Es como los truquitos, right? It's like you're gonna, right?
Yes.
Open up the box of insights or tricks, right? And it's not that you're being deceiving, it's just that they
Right.
exist. It's like different tools
Yeah.
and angles that you can slice and dice, right?
Yeah.
Your financial picture to
Yeah.
make sure that you take advantage of the resources that are out there to be able to succeed, save
Yeah.
money, invest better, or at
Yeah.
least, or if you don't decide to do any of those things, that's okay. But at least you're aware,
Mhm.
right, of what you're missing out on, or
Correct.
of the decision that you're making. Yeah,
Correct. So, and for example, I hear this a lot. I work with a lot of women business owners, and it's like, okay, I don't have a 401k because I work for myself.
yeah.
Many of them don't even know, right? Like recent legislation passed, the government is giving you money for you to set up a retirement plan for your business. So
¿Dónde?
if you have no, like if you have employees in your business, the government is essentially covering 3 years worth in many cases of what the cost would be to set that up. So that means if you set up a retirement plan for your business, there's you can allocate up to 66,000, and that number changes every year, that you could be putting aside for yourself, that they don't touch. They'll touch you later down the road.
Wow.
Now, so it's just understanding. It's all in the IRS code book. To be honest, like I
Yeah,
always
but
say,
who's gonna read that? And if you read it for me,
me.
pues espérate, nena, espérate, nena, espérate, Michelle. Espérate. So all of this is gonna be in the master class, that we can like these
We're gonna level it
yeah,
slowly. Yes. Yeah.
yeah. That's
So
great.
so for example, I always say this. I love I'm a lover of history, and
Hmm.
one of the things I love to study is, because I think so many of us come here with a deep desire to make our family lives better, and I love
Hmm.
immigration history, and not just U.S. but just globally, right? I think in this specific country there are three main engines for wealth building. Education's, of course, it's like that foundational
Yeah.
level, which could be
Hmm.
university or reading on your own, right? Because I know
Right.
some people who don't have a degree.
Right.
But the two main engines, it's real estate.
Yeah.
Whether you own it for yourself primary, or you
Hmm.
invest in it, like commercial real estate, like big buildings and multifamily homes.
Right.
That's one. Two, owning a business. Because just look at how the tax code is written. Many times it's what I see. If you work a job and you have a salary, things are coming out of your salary before it gets to your house, right? You're getting
Yeah.
taxed. A business owner, it's like, no, no, the expenses go first, and then you're taxed on what you made. I mean,
Yeah.
right there's a huge distinction. So when you
Yeah.
think about what you could put away for yourself, it's a
Hmm.
different situation.
Okay.
And the third, it's equity. equity in markets, whether private or public, but equities. There's a reason why San Francisco, for example, it has so many millionaires, and it's because you have so many companies there that give their employees stock options or equity in
Mm.
the company. So then when those companies go public, you have instant millionaires. Why? Because they have
Mm.
equity. And same thing, someone who's been, for example, and I mentioned trust fund babies because I literally went to school at NYU with children whose full college was paid for by shares that their grandparents bought in 1920, 1930, 1940. And they're
Wow.
still holding on to. And it's paying income monthly or quarterly, whatever situation, but it gets passed on. So when we talk about what drives wealth in this country, I'd say those are the three pillars. So then
Wow.
when someone reads the IRS code, just look at how they're taxed. Did you know that what gets taxed the highest is wage income? Not
Wow.
your investments. Your investments is capped at 15 or 20% long term.
Wow.
Your wage right now 37%, and in the next couple of years expected to go higher. So
Oh my
just
goodness.
understanding what is your tax rate, we're going to go over that. What is your burn rate, which is how much you're spending, debt. So we're going to really look at cash flow from a big picture.
Got it.
But it's not so much me telling you, is I'm going to hopefully empower you by helping you understand these numbers for yourself, and that you'll never forget it, and have the tools to actually be able to have the documentation for yourself. This is where I'm at. This is my personal financial statement, and you can see it very clearly. And then this is the action steps I'm going to start taking moving forward because of the education we're going to build into it. But not
Wow. And then we can apply that to business too, obviously. So whatever we learn, then apply it to the business. I'm sure there's some differences,
some
you know.
differences.
Yeah, I know, but it's a good exercise to
Yeah,
again just know that feel more confident about it, I
yeah.
feel. Not feel so lost and
No,
confused,
no,
about the terms, and then feeling like you can move, like
yeah,
you can move the needle and do something,
yes,
just something to improve
yeah,
what you're currently doing, and
yeah.
advance your financial mobility, right?
Well, here's what I say. Like I mentioned before, no one was knocking on our door when we were growing up.
No.
I'm knocking on your door now. I'm here to say I'm here for you guys. I am one of you. I have the knowledge. My why, honestly, is to help empower others and uplift them. We are leading. I mean, our recent reports, and the Sammy, we are the U.S. Latino economy is like the fifth largest in the world if we were a country.
Yeah.
We have huge economic power. I want to make sure we are using it effectively, efficiently to improve our lives, that collectively we become an even bigger economic power personally. And
Hmm.
we can make the influence we want to make, we can make the impact we want to make. I'll give you an example. And that's I was just mentioning this to someone before. Um, I grew up Catholic, grew up going to church every Sunday, and they passed the thing at church, like you always give. So we're very charitable for the most part. um why not give to charity in a way that also helps with your retirement? So I was trying to explain to someone, for example,
Mm.
different ways to give. Everyone loves Social Security, and because it pays you every month once you start getting it. Well, there's this thing called charitable remainder trust, and it's a type of trust account you set up where let's say you sold your business, or you sold something, or whatever the situation is. You contribute to that trust, and then at a set time, kind of like Social Security, at a set time, you set it up in the trust agreement that it's going to start paying you income every month for the remainder of your life. So the
Mm.
money you put in, it's growing, it's invested, it's growing, it's tax deferred, and it's going to start paying you income for the rest of your life. When you pass away, that let's say you started out with 50,000, it's now accumulated hypothetically to, let's say, a much larger amount. It goes to the charity you've designated. So you care
Mm.
for Iglesia X, or
Right.
women's domestic violence is one of my big charities. So let's say women direct domestic violence X, and you, let's say instead of giving 50,000 and that's all they got, you can set up where you're concerned for your retirement, you're concerned for your kids' college, you're handling a million financial obligations right now all at once, and we're dealing with wage stagnation, we're dealing with inflation. So this is a way you could provide for your retirement and give more than the original 50,000. You give a lot more to the charity you want, and you leave a substantial impact, in your name,
Hmm.
charity. So, um, that's not for everyone, but I'm saying that's just one of many, many, many ways that
Yeah.
we could be strategic, we could be tax efficient, but more importantly, the thing is using money to align for our goals. So,
Hmm.
there was this great quote that I love, which is, money is, a verbatim, so excuse me, but it's, money is the worst master, but it's a great servant. Um,
Mm.
is we shouldn't be slaves to money. We shouldn't be, that shouldn't own us, right? I'm trying to help others to, like, understand, what do you want your life to be? If your life is a white canvas and you want to
Hmm.
look back on it, what was it that you put on that white canvas that brings you joy, brings you happiness, matches who you are and your values, and then let's align money to support those things. Or if we can't do that now, let's just get you on the path to be closer to that. So
Yeah.
it's money's working for us and us working for it.
That's really cool. And so I know that right now with this offering, like you've carved out time, and wow. I mean,
Yeah,
I love how you've done it, because you've done it, like there's Saturday sessions, and then there's another lane that's on Tuesday mornings, and then some in the evening. Like you've really done a combination of dates and times, so that way for 4 consecutive weeks you can, people can plug
yeah,
in, right, and
yeah,
really take advantage of what you're going to teach us.
yeah.
But what I noticed was that you're specifically in this case just speaking to women owned businesses in general,
Hmm.
that are head of household,
Hmm.
and I mean, I appreciate that, but I'm asking, I think I know the answer. Are men,
Yeah.
is it okay for men to join too if they want to?
Of course. So let me clarify. I'll make it clear. I'm married to a man. I'm raising a little one. So I love men, and my dad will tell you I am daddy's biggest, daddy's girl. Um, what I mean by women-led households is the statistics show 80% of women are leading the purchasing and the decisions in the house.
Mm,
When I mean women-led is because there are specific financial issues that concern when there's women in the household. For example, women are outliving their husbands. So,
mm,
so women longevity is to 84, men at 78. So notice you'll find, if you look around, you find a lot more widows that are women.
mm,
And it's still the case that a lot of women are still leaving the decisions to the guys. So when I bring women led households, because we're gonna tackle not just the stuff currently, but let's make sure we are preparing things in such a way that when amazing, wonderful husband passes away,
mhm,
she is not left in the dark
mm,
with, where are we, where is everything at, what, I'm trying to bring transparency, to them and make sure they are part of the conversation,
mhm,
in that we're addressing what tends to be, we they do tend to have lower social security,
mm,
they tend to have, the effect of the wage gap over years, or we were the ones that took time off, many different situations, but just
Yeah.
addressing things that apply specifically to household when there's a woman there. But no, men are welcome because men, they care for the wives, they care for their daughters, they care for their moms. So more than welcome, and I'm very pro men. So
Yes. No, and I know that. That's right. I knew that. I knew the answer to that. But then it's
yeah, but
interesting
we will
too.
because con quien voy a bailar? Who am I gonna dance with?
Exactly, right? And there's always a party when Michelle's in the house. So, listen. And the other thing too is I saw that, that you also want to focus on business women, right? And it's
Mhm.
interesting when you said that the three pillars that can direct
Mhm.
you towards, a wealth of, like a journey of wealth or towards reaching wealth are real
Yes.
estate and business ownership, right?
Yes.
I mean, so that there's the tie too, right? So then now that you're making this money, now that you're independent, that now that you're relying on yourself
Mhm.
to drive this enterprise, right?
Yes.
What do you do with your revenues? How do you further wealth
Yeah.
growth in a way that can support you, and you can live the way you want to live.
Because the other thing that's common too with a lot of the women business owner clients I work with is there's an instability in the income. So it's
Mm,
not like you have a salary where you're getting the same amount every bi-week.
yeah.
So specifically with business owners, it's vital that we're creating that they're creating an income strategy that you have a couple months where it's you take home a much larger amount, you have a couple months where you take less, and
Hmm.
it's like you have the consistency throughout the year, and okay, when I get the big windfall, I know where things are going and how I'm
Hmm.
allocating. And when I have, let's say, those lower months, I don't need to worry because I'm already covered because
Hmm.
I was doing these other actions. So what I find is there's some nuances there when you're a business owner.
Yeah.
Long term, the other thing they have to think about is their exit strategy. One way or another,
Mm.
you're going to exit, whether it's voluntary or unfortunately non-voluntary.
Right.
Um, we're not going to get into that in the master class, but when I work privately with clients, that's a big piece. Is how are we increasing business valuation to prepare you for an exit strategy, which typically you want to really start playing that 10 years in advance. Much like retirement, you want to start playing that 10 years in advance.
Okay, so then that I was just having this conversation with a friend
Hmm.
earlier today, and it was about retirement, right? And then we both laughed, right? Because I don't think I'm ever gonna retire. I'm not, I just
You're too
don't.
active. You're too active.
Yeah, I can't. I think I will like literally rip my hair out. So that being said, um, like succession plans, but to still incorporate like that third career, right? Because my first career was in corporate, the second is like now in business, right? But then once I do decide to pull back from the business or sell it or whatever it is, right? Then that third stage,
Hmm.
what does that look like with those incomes? What's allowed or not to make? Like, I
Yeah,
don't understand any of it, right? I don't understand social security. I don't all of that. So
yeah.
yeah.
So the same way like your dad, he was saying like, why are you not staying in the company for 30 years? So because now in current days, you gotta switch around to get that pay increase. Same thing, retirement isn't what it was 30 years ago. Um,
Hmm.
People are being a lot more active now in retirement. So I challenge you to look at retirement more like work optional. I work because I want to. I have the option to do exactly what I want to do, where and when. And a lot of people, if they can, getting board positions, volunteering, doing part time stuff, they're doing multiple things. But the key is you have the choice to walk away. So to me, I retirement because that's the common term, but I really like to frame it more in terms of are you work optional right now? And
Mm.
work optional. That
Wow.
let's
Wait,
say
I'm gonna wait. I gotta write that. Wait, are you work optional? I love that right now.
Yeah.
That is crazy awesome. Love
So
that.
we're going to go over that in the master class. So
Wow.
that's a big piece. Like for me, I love to travel.
Yeah.
Um, so and like you, I was in corporate for many years in asset management.
Yeah.
One of the things I love for my practice is, I mean, we've had breakfast in Florida. I'm based in the DC area, but I, I can go with my family. I bring my laptop because I'm never going to retire, because I'm not working. I'm helping people, and that's my passion. That's where I am at my core.
Mhm.
So same thing. Other people, they may be in certain situations that they may like their jobs, but something moves your cheese, and you can't control when your cheese gets moved.
Yes,
And
exactly.
you may say, you know what? Hasta aquí llegué. Well,
Yeah.
I want to make sure you're prepared that, okay, that, okay, here's my 2 week letter and I'm done.
Yeah.
And then you can go and do something that fills you because you got one life to live. Make it amazing and spectacular and exactly who you are and what you want to do and with who you want to do it. When
Yeah.
we're working, we spend more time away from our loved ones and our friends. So do we love who we work with? Do we love what we do? And if the answers to that is no and no, well then let's change that. And I think that's where using money to serve you um, is the difference between you working for money.
Yes. Wow. That's epic. Epic. And so I'm since I'm blind, I have to put on my glasses because I can't, right?
Yeah,
So I love that all of these courses, like this entire 4 week commitment, is all right before Thanksgiving. Like this is like, and you could be ready before you could be ready and already activating stuff. So that way you're starting the new year and already seeing some
yeah.
differences, right? And
For
so
two
I'm gonna
reasons.
make sure, yeah, I'm gonna include the link in the post for the podcast. I think
Okay.
this is critical because they don't teach us any of this,
No.
in school, unless you go to school for this, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if it happened with you too that, for example, I studied communications, right? A master's in communications. But when I went and worked in media and worked in the publishing world and worked night and day, right? They can teach you theory and all of this stuff, but until you're experiencing it, that's when you really understand, right? How
Yeah.
it works and how to navigate it. Is
Yeah.
it the same with finance?
Yeah, very much. And that's why I say it's. Um, someone once told me it's, well, can you just tell me everything you know? I'm like, that's 18 years of actual experience. I
Right.
can't, I can't just sort of put in this little tiny bottle.
Yeah.
I've been through all the crises, the 2008, the just the oil situation, the volatility situation. Um, I've I've seen it all, and uh, I worked in currencies, I worked in commodities, I worked in exchange traded funds. I've yeah, you can't you can't do, it's not the
Yeah.
same. It's not the
Yeah.
same. And specifically always working with clients. So
Mm.
what they won't teach you in, let's say, a book, it's and this very much happened to me, is when when you get a call. Well, I didn't get the call, but I was the head of the department, so they were like, Michelle, we don't know what to say. So I'm like, go ahead. When you get the call from someone, she is a single mom. She has, I'll never forget, single mom, 3 kids, one of them about to go to college the very next year, and and she didn't work with, let's say, a fiduciary. She went on a social media, and somewhere on social media she was told, oh, buy this thing, it's a sure thing. um, and in a course of 2 days, because there was a situation that happened that affected this thing that she was told to buy, that's a sure thing. And in the course of 2 days she lost 96% of the money she had set aside for her kids' college.
Oh my
Um,
God.
I mean, a textbook's not going to prepare you for that, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember taking that call, and all I could do, honestly, is to sort of help her understand um, what she was told to do was actually a very complex instrument that really no fiduciary would have ever suggested that to her. Um,
Right.
and it really just takes something that's really complex and help her understand what happened, how, and why. Um, it's stuff like that that it breaks my heart because I'm a mom, and I us parents, we're just trying to do our best. We're trying to do our best. Our kids are everything, and my office, my it's full of my son's pictures, and my heart went out to her, and I but I come into picture after the fact, and I
Right.
just, I wish she had come to someone like me
Mhm.
beforehand and say, I'm trying to prepare my kids for college. What are good ways that I can do that? This is all my situation, and had worked with a fiduciary. So if I can just save, just another mom from a situation like that, I would feel like I've done my purpose
Mhm.
because I'm just here. I just want to uplift. I want to help. And the knowledge that I have is this. It's financial planning, it's wealth management, it's investment management, it's understanding tax planning, estate planning. It's this is the knowledge I can help with, and that's why I'm knocking on people's doors. Like, look, people were knocking on our doors. I'm knocking on your door now, so that we can hopefully avoid a situation like that woman had.
Yeah.
Um,
And something else that you have, the other knowledge that you have that you didn't mention is the
mm,
cultural lens. It's the
ah,
cultural intelligence to help us, right? And the
yeah,
empathy and the understanding, of the line of questioning, like we don't have to, like, if I ask you, right, something that and I can't think off the top of my head, right?
mm,
But something that
mm,
has some kind of
mm,
a cultural
yeah.
influence, right?
No, and
Yeah,
I understand where it comes from. Yeah,
I don't have to backtrack and explain. You'll be like, oh, ya sé, I know why you're asking me that, right? And so then I think that it helps
yeah.
also create this safe space of understanding.
No, and the empathy and the respect for nuestra gente, for our people, for our culture, for the the orgullo, the joy we get when we achieve these amazing things, and we know. I was the first in my class to first in my family to go to college. I went to NYU. Um, first to have a business, first to, all these different things, and first to go to corporate. And I remember just having benefits. It was to my parents like I won the lotto.
Yeah.
So many when you're an immigrant here, you get what you can get, and many jobs don't have those things. Um,
Hmm.
so I understand the journey it takes to get to where levels that a lot of women and men too are getting at, and what it means for our family. So all the more reasons I feel almost personal to help to protect to grow, and I'm really here to guide. I'm not going to say this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
Mira, like, let me show you the couple of options. It's like data driven, but look at the actual numbers. If you decide X, this is the consequence. If you decide B, this is a consequence. What aligns better for you, right? It's
Right.
very, but with respect for an understanding for what we're trying to achieve, what we've done, and we've done so much for this country. We contribute so much. We don't get the recognition in social media and other places, but I see it. I see it. I understand it, and I'm proud. I'm very, very proud of it. So yeah, so I designed this course because I don't I want to help people that probably wouldn't find me or wouldn't necessarily at the moment want to work with a fiduciary, but this is a way for me at scale to have a greater impact. And I think if we can all just be kind, if we can all just work to give an impact, make an impact, I think the world would just be a better place.
This is great. Listen, I feel like I can hear you talk for hours and learn a gazillion things. Obviously, not the 18 years plus worth of everything but I mean, just this conversation to me brought a lot of value. I hope everyone sees the value in this too. Y a todas las hermanas latinas, esto es una buena oportunidad para aprender cómo manejar tu dinero, para asegurarte de que tu familia esté bien cuando envejezcamos, pero también cuando no estemos. Así que
Mm.
I really encourage everyone to look into this, to participate. I know I'm going to do it too. And I got to tell you, what you're charging, quite frankly, it's you spend that on a shopping spree. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's so worth it to invest in that now, so you can go on a whole bunch of shopping sprees later without feeling guilty about it, right? So yeah.
Well, that was the point because I wanted to make it accessible. I wanted to make it as accessible as possible. So yeah, that's the point. Like I'm not a big shopper. Where I spend my money is on vacations, but a good friend of mine told me like that's less than what I pay for my Louis Vuitton bag. I'm like, how much are you paying for Louis Vuitton bag? But again, I'm not a shopper, But
Right, right. Well, again, thank you so much, Michelle, for taking the time and having this conversation. I really look forward to learning more.
No, thank you, Sammy. Thank you for having me, and everyone. Um, I'm here for you guys. Any questions? I think Sammy will let you know how to reach me, but I hope to see you guys in the masterclass.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of I Have Something to Say, where subject matter experts are unafraid and unapologetic about sharing their perspectives regarding issues that impact our lives. They speak up because basically they give a shit. So if you're tired of canned answers and want to finally hear real people cut through the BS and talk about real issues, this is the podcast for you. I'm your host, Sami Jimen Marrero from Urbander, and behind our mixer is our producer, Chris Majoka from UdoU.